she went through like a bunch of questions.
Oh yeah, to find your avatar. Yep.
About your avatar to like specifically to speak, and then I think there was some conversation about a dress and what you're wearing and
Yes.
and that whole thing. It's all coming back to me.
There
now.
you go. I know.
I just got off a call in the car on a Zoom chat. Ran up to my office and I'm like, I just got home from work, so sorry, I'm unpacking my briefcase.
No worries, no worries. So that's good. I'm glad that you guys were able to get that information and start to kind of make those little changes in your posts, because that does make a difference. As you start to get more specific to a very targeted group, it becomes easier to talk to them, right? It feels like you said, more natural, like it doesn't feel forced. So that's awesome. I'm so glad that you felt that way. And have you noticed a difference? Like anybody commenting more, or maybe a couple more new people that have liked your posts, or?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Awesome. Hey, Sarah.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. It's 7 o'clock San Antonio time, and I'm traveling for work, and I just got done with my workout and all the craziness. So.
You're in San Antonio. I love San Antonio.
Yeah, I used to live here, you know.
Huh?
I used to live here.
Oh, right. Yeah, before.
Yeah, so I still work for USAA, so
yeah.
I travel here once. Well, I'm supposed to travel once a quarter, but last quarter I didn't because of the whole like passing out business.
Yeah. Too much stress. I'm sure you have like too much going on.
I have a lot going on right now. Yeah.
Linda, you have your.
But it's okay.
My family is there.
That's awesome.
That's right, Linda.
Yeah, you go see my sister, my nieces, my brother-in-law, the babies.
Oh my gosh.
They're all there. I'm here.
Yeah. So you're with me in my hotel room, and I ordered sushi for dinner.
Ooh,
so
yummy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I told myself that would be my treat for working out. That's so messed up, but I was like, I have to do my workout. Okay, fine, I'll do sushi for dinner, but I still have to work out.
You traveled yesterday. Was it yesterday that you traveled?
Sunday.
Oh, Sunday. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be here until Friday night. I get back to New Hampshire Friday night at midnight.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So it's a long trip, but what are you going to do? And I'm missing my stepson's first football game tonight for this trip.
Did they at least FaceTime it or Zoom or whatever? No?
No.
I'm
missing it, but they're okay. They're doing fine. They'll be good.
And there, you'll be home before you know it.
Yeah.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. But hey, Kim, I noticed, so I kind of popped in at the very last second of that last convo you were having, but I did notice that you got more engagement on some of your posts that were more about like you're trying to target market and your niche audience, like trying to, I noticed you got some more comments.
Yeah, like on the dress I got a lot.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that helps a lot. But it's like one of my fears is like, I don't want to, I don't want to like be like this person who's like taking selfies all day. What do you think about me dress? And I don't want to just come across as like somebody that's all like she does all day.
Self-absorbed.
But isn't it? No.
I mean, like it's like like I'm a professional. I have like education, and I want to be really helping people. Not just like taking pictures of myself all day. And like what do you think? I want to be taken serious.
So I got to ask you a question then, because I mean you follow Nandali and Linda and I, and we're all professionals and we all have educations. So do we come across as people that seem like we're self-absorbed and taking selfies all day? And So, and why do you think that is?
I don't know. I'm just afraid, that people, will just, I guess, think that, this real health coaching thing isn't like a real thing, because all I do is like, take selfies all day.
So there's always an opportunity. I see what you're saying there. There's always an opportunity for you to share other people's stories too, and help to establish yourself as a leader in what we do as health and fitness coaches by saying, look, I'm not the only one that does this. There are other people out there who are successful who also do this just like I do. And you can share other people's stories, and that right there would nip that in the bud.
I don't have really, like, who do I share? Like, who do I share about?
Us.
Mm-hmm.
Like right there. I mean, like, or reach out, like go in the Difference Maker Movement team page and take a look and see like if there are other people who have transformation stories that maybe you'd want to share. Like if there are people like you, just say like, I'm looking for people like X, Y, and Z who wouldn't mind me sharing their story or something like that, just based on what you want to share.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think part of that too is, before when I just really didn't know what direction to go with my posts, I felt kind of lost. And in that part, I did feel like I kept following the same trend over and over, which is posting the same thing over and over again. And so that can feel like redundant, and you're like, I feel like I'm not making any impact. And so during that time, I used almost like a little template, like a mini template where it kind of gave me a guide to kind of break up that same type of mentality, like the same posts. And I think I shared that with you, like in the very beginning, where like Mondays I did a health post and then a lifestyle. And then Tuesday I did an engagement post.
Yep.
And something else. And then Wednesday I did a live motivation. Mm-hmm. So I had like these little things that I followed each day.
Yep,
so
I have that.
Broke up that monotone, so it wasn't the same thing all the time. Mm-hmm. I wasn't always posting the same similar pictures. It was always different. And so like a lifestyle post is you and your kids or your house or like I've done living room posts with my kids' toys everywhere. Like that's a lifestyle post. So it's not always selfies. And so that's, if you feel like you're falling into that trend, then kind of step back and think, okay, how can I go back to that template again and be like, kind of stick to that until it gets into a rhythm where you're like, it becomes second nature, right? I'm at the point where I'm like, I go with my instinct and I kind of just go with my personal day's experiences and I share that. But before, sometimes my life was just so like same every single day that I didn't have really that much different stuff to share. So I was like, what am I going to share today? And I just hated thinking too much about it because that wasted so much time. Mm-hmm. So I used that template. And I used that template for like 6 months where I was like, I don't know what to post. Okay, today's Tuesday. Okay, today I'm doing an engagement post and I'm doing this. And that made me remember like, okay, engagement. How can I engage with my people today? Like yesterday, I did an engagement post. All I asked people was like, what do you prefer? If you can work on one thing, what would you work on? Exercise or nutrition? And it's like 50 comments under that, like, because it's a different post, right? So you do have to kind of break up the monotone. So that template does help. So go back to that little template. If you feel like you keep falling back to if you feel like it's too much selfies, then go back to that template. But then as you start to get more comfortable, you'll realize that the selfies have a story behind them too. And so you're not always just sharing like yourself and like, oh, look at me, look how beautiful I look, but rather a story behind it. And I think that's what makes it more powerful. Because there are a lot of people on social media that all they do is selfies and they have no like caption under it, or they have like the silliest caption where it's like, I feel good today, which is not bad, but like I always try to accompany it with a story. so that I'm not just blatantly like, hey, look at me, but rather I use the picture as to stop people, but then I want them to read. And so that's my mission, is for people to read through my posts more than anything else. So think also of that, like what's my purpose behind this post today? Like, in what way do I want to impact this person that I'm talking to? Like, just like last week, you know, you're writing like you're talking to your friend. In what way am I sharing this selfie, and what's the purpose behind it? So that's something, you know, to think about as well. But yeah, it should give you a way, you know, different ideas on how to break that up a little bit, so you don't feel that way. But like Sada said too, a lot of it has to do with our own insecurities and feeling like people are judging. But regardless, whether you're doing an amazing job or you're not, people are gonna judge. So you know, that's really, I know it's hard to let go of that. I know it is to kind of like just brush it off your shoulders and who cares what people think. And it takes a while to get to that point. But the more you do it, the more you get through that fear, the easier it's going to get, and the less you're going to care about what people think. And your posts are going to come out more natural. But we all go through that phase, so don't feel alone.
And Kim, you know, I'll be transparent with you when I say too that, like, when I first started as a coach, I mean, I have a master's degree in marketing communication, right? And like, for me, when I was younger, like in my 20s, I thought that like my degree defined me, like my career defined me. And I would look like, it was awful. I would look at people as like almost being beneath me if they didn't have, you know, a good enough job or like a high enough education, and like certain career paths were beneath me. And like, and so when I started coaching, I was embarrassed to share it, because I was like, as someone with this education, with this trajectory in life, like, why would I ever want to do something like this MLM pyramid scheme, like sleazy thing, selling people on this stuff that I claim to have changed my life, right? Like I just so, like, in my own head did not believe in myself and in what I was doing. So like, as an entrepreneur, like, instead of taking it as like a business venture where I was truly an entrepreneur and owning something to build and to train others and to empower others, I was just like, well, I'm just a salesperson. It's like a sleazy car salesman, you know? So I really had to shift that mindset and realize that, no, I'm not just selling something. I am building a business here. This is a truly entrepreneurial venture. The thing about it though is I don't have a, you know, 6-figure buy-in for my business where I'm going to be in debt having to pay off all these business loans. You know, I'm building this thing from the ground up.
Like my husband and my mother-in-law, they're like, you know, you went to nursing school and now you do this.
Yep. Yeah, because you went to nursing school because you love helping people and you wanted to change their lives and you wanted the best for them. And I mean, I don't know what it is that you realized that like this could be the thing, but like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like, so many people realize that like medicine isn't the only option.
Mm-hmm. I want to be like on the other spectrum now, you know, preventing people from getting sick, you know?
Right. Yeah. Right. And so, and there's nothing wrong with that. And taking ownership of that and saying, I'm not just a salesperson. I'm not just that, like, I am truly changing people's lives and taking ownership of that. And like being a business person, like really thinking of this as like, this is the thing I am building. Like, it changed everything for me. Because I don't feel like I'm wasting my education. I don't feel like I'm doing something that's beneath me. I feel like I'm doing something that most people can't do because they don't have it in themselves to be able to grow to that level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you got to think too that people are very close-minded, and they think that life is so linear, and that things go in a certain order and certain way, and you have to work 30 years before you retire, which is what nurses need to do, like 35 years or something ridiculous. And so they have this very linear mindset. And one thing I remember this weekend, I was talking to my brother, and I was telling him, like, you know what? Like, my life has been so curvy. And, I got to the point where I've come comfortable to tell him this, my brother, where I said, yeah, my nursing career worked as a foundation for me. My military career worked as a foundation for me. And I never would have in a million years considered myself doing this. But I feel like I have not wasted any of that education, any of that stuff. If anything, it has given me more to put into my business and to pour into other people's lives, because those are my personal experiences. And so my life hasn't been linear whatsoever, completely unlinear than anyone I've met. I didn't finish college in the right amount of time. I didn't get married in the right perfect timing. I had kids really early. Like, everything I did was just complete opposite of everyone else. And so maybe that's why for me, coaching was like, whatever, this is another thing I'm not doing in linear, right? But yeah, my parents were so against it. My sister-in-law, everyone. It's just not until this year that they were like, wow, this girl's seriously taking this serious, right? So you have to be confident in that decision. And as scary as it is, one thing that my dad said to me I think it was this weekend as well, that stuck to me. Because we were talking about finances and all that. And I was asking him, like, Dad, like, how did you make it? Like, how did you make it with us 3 kids, right? He left his full-time job, right? He was a window cleaning guy, just a regular employee. He left his job to become a business owner. And my mom at the same time left her daycare provider job she had at home. So full, like, incomes were like gone. And I'm like, how did you make it? Like, his story is freaking incredible. I didn't realize he was telling me things I didn't even know back then, but like, he couldn't pay his mortgage for a year. He let that go. And I was like, so how did you make it work? Like, how did you start making money? And it just made me realize that, yes, you have a definitive income with a 9-to-5 job, but there's no way that he could have made the money he makes now in that still 9-to-5 job 10 years later. And so, yeah, the beginning is freaking hard. You're going to make sacrifices. And to hear now that my dad went a year without paying mortgage, they barely had enough money to buy groceries. And I'm like, man, if my dad can do that, then I need to suck it up and stop complaining, right? And he supported us. And we never knew we were going through this during this phase. So that props to them for even putting that for keeping that on the down low. But it just proved to me, he's like he didn't say it directly, but almost indirectly he said like you need to be strong. Like, you need to be able to be bold. You need to be courageous. And for me, it just showed that, like, he went the unlinear path. And now look where he is now. Like, he can't even keep up with the amount of work that he has. And he's bought in houses, and he's a home flipper guy. He flips homes. He started with window cleaning. He did his own window cleaning. Then that grew, and then it's blown up. And even to this day, he still doesn't want to grow any bigger, but he's making more money than he can, you know what I mean? He's supporting his family, and he's still giving back 10 years later, 10 years. And so when I look back, I'm like, wow, I'm sure the first 3 years of his business, like Sarah said, most people, when they start their business, they invest a lot of money. I think he invested like hundreds of thousands of dollars. We don't do that, right? We pay $40, if even, maybe it's waived for some people. And that's it. And then we pay for our own products. But like, for me, I was like, that just showed me like, yeah, right now it's hard, but in 10 years, do I want to be triple or quadruple making of what I would have been making as a nurse? That for me is a reason to continue doing this. And so again, people are very linear and they think like the 9-to-5 job and that income. But for us, at least for me, I know there's more out there. I know that I can make way more with less work down the road. Right now is a lot of work, right? So that's my vision. And so we have to have a vision for this. We have to have that why behind it. We have to then be strategic. We got to go into this, just like Sarah says, as a business and be willing to lose some to win some, and to not, everybody agree with this. I'm sure there's a lot of people in my family, I don't know, that didn't agree with my dad's decision, right? But he still did it. And I'm glad he did, because guess what? He paved the way for me. And that's what business owners do, is that they pave the way for everyone else around them to believe in themselves to do it. That's why I believe in Liz for what she's doing and for her example, because if she didn't do that, pave that way for us, we wouldn't be still be here, right? I know for me that holds true. And so that's part of it, is having the faith and just putting in the work and continuously learning from your mistakes, because we're going to make a lot of mistakes.
I echo everything that you guys have said. And I'm thinking about the power of I am, because I'm enmeshed in that. And I can't paraphrase Chris, but I know we have talked in that group, and I think he's asked the question to all of us, whose life are you living? Basically, he's saying, who has told you what? And why have you allowed that to define you? And I think about that a lot, because I think about growing up and the things that have been said to me. And, I was raised with that. You got to get a job. You got to work till the 9 to 5, the this, the that. And I'm learning a whole new way. And I'm an old dog learning these tricks. I'm 58. So I'm not a spring chicken, but don't write me off yet. And when I think about that, he makes a lot of sense, because for the largest portion of my life, I have lived by the expectation of other people instead of what I'm expecting or wanting, or what the power within me is telling me to do. It goes back to, is it your passion? What is it? Is it your purpose or your pride? Those are the two things he always asks as a question when you're faced with anything. My purpose or my pride? And when I think of it, when someone, because I go to that same place. I used to be in Boston. I had my corner office, on the 8th floor, looking out over the, and now I'm back to being a property manager on site. Yeah, sure, I mean, but then my pride gets involved here. But that's not my purpose. My purpose is doing what I'm doing, and I get a lot of flack and feedback or whatever, kickback from it, because even from my own self, because I'm questioning, what the heck am I doing? I'm running myself ragged, trying to do this job and do this and do this and do that. And for what? For my life, for my purpose, to live my purpose. And that's what drives me. So I get the same thing, Kim. My family at first was all like, really? Like, what are you doing now? And you can't, and even my mother-in-law is the most least supportive person in all of this. If I post something, she won't. If my husband posts one thing, she's all over it. It's just, it's that subliminal, what do you call it? Passive aggressive. There are just people in our lives, certainly people in my life, that are very passive aggressive about me and Beachbody, and they have that attitude. Oh, it's all about the selfies. It's all about this. It's all about that. And and I'm past that now. It used to really bother me, and now my feeling is, then unfriend me. No problem. I have no problem with that. In fact, I've actually blocked some of them and unfriended them, or not unfriended them, but like hidden my stuff from them so that when stuff comes out, it doesn't go to them, because I just don't want to hear the BS. They're not that important to me. Yeah, they're important because they're in my life and I love them and I have to love them because they're part of my family. But some of them, it's kind of like, yeah, not so much. Your opinion does not define who I am. Because you're a person in my life, but it doesn't define me, and it doesn't define what I'm doing with my life. And when you were talking earlier, the one thing that came to me, it was like whoosh, was fear. False evidence appearing real. It's not real. It's I do it. So I'm not saying you do this, but I do this. I create a story in my head, what everybody's thinking, what everybody's opinion is, and half the time it is so far from the truth. It's not really what people are thinking, because most of them could give a crap with what I'm doing or what I'm putting out there. But then you see these people that you never heard from before come out of here and come out of there. I got a text from someone the other day, and I'm going to read it. I want to read it to you. I want to share it with you. If I can find it. Where is this guy's thing? I'm actually trying to set him up with a friend. I'm playing matchmaker. Where the heck is it? I just got it this morning. I read it to John. I'm like, wow. I'm like, you never know what people are thinking. You have no idea what people are thinking. Where the heck is it? Oh my goodness, I can't believe I can't put my finger right on it. Somebody else go, and I'll pop in and I'll share it with you. Sorry.
So, that's okay. I'm going to read this from this book that I'm reading right now from Brendan Bouchard. It's called Motivation Manifesto.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, a society so afflicted by ease and conformity always flinches at the arrival of those boldly seeking personal freedom. As we express our true selves and advance toward our dreams, we will meet unfathomable, unending resistance. Those who play a zero-sum game of life, who believe they cannot succeed if we do, may launch slings and arrows of envy, or they might seek with soft and duplicitous words to lull us back into the fold. Those at our sides may stab us with doubts about our readiness or warn that the world is too hostile a place. And those in front of us, fearful of losing their place, may hurl wicked accusations and build walls to keep us back. We must ready ourselves and be wary of the effect such tyrants can have in making us feel fearful in life.
Wow.
Talking about fear.
That's powerful.
Super. I specifically pulled out, as we express our true selves and advance toward our dreams, we will meet unfathomable, unending resistance. And let me tell you, I have met so much resistance in this journey. So much. And every single coach you're going to meet, the most successful to the newest coach, every single one of us have been faced with resistance.
And then, can I ask, I want to ask for everyone to answer, but like really answer. Like, are you afraid of having a business?
You're afraid of what?
Having a business.
I don't think so.
You asking all of us?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think about it, I'm like, man, this is a big responsibility. Mm-hmm. Like, can I really handle this? Do I have the skills to run a full-on business? Mm-hmm. And I doubt myself. For sure. Especially when things get hard, not just in the business, but in life, in my personal life, I doubt even more. So yeah, it's run through my mind constantly, like on a monthly basis. Like something happens in my life and I'm like, can I really do this? But then I wake up the next morning and I start all over again and I feel better. I don't know how to describe it. Like something happens and it's like those feelings are erased and I start over again.
So I can relate to that a little, but I'm not afraid of having a business. I'm not. I want it so bad. I'm afraid I might not have it. And I think that's where my fear is, because I may not be putting in the effort or doing the things that I need to do in order to get what it is that I really want. That's more where my fear lies than with having the business, because I work hard. I put everything into what I do. I'm an incredible employee for the people that I work for right now. And I want to do that for myself, for my family, so yeah, I'm not afraid of having a business. I'm afraid, no, I'm actually not, because I know that if I got to that point where things really started to move, then I would have to level up and do those things I need to do in order to make that happen, as in hiring an assistant, to just take those next steps that I have to do. So yeah, I'm not. And I want to share with you, and one of the reasons I'm not is because I know I'm making an impact. In my little world, I know I'm impacting people. So when those naysayers and the haters gonna hate are gonna hate, and they do, and they're in my own family, or my extended family, whatever you want to call it, and they do, I go like this: you're talking heads behind me, no problem. Smile and just keep on moving. Because I get, like, there's lots of stuff that messages that people will send me. But I got this message this morning. When I saw your motivation, enthusiasm, and will to get up again in life, I must say, it really inspired me. I'm sure life hasn't been easy, as you mentioned, being overweight and having to endure the hardships that come with it. I love how you turn everything into a fun adventure. I've stayed hidden for years, not thinking I had anything to offer. Especially, I didn't feel motivated to return back to school. We're all coming from under something. It was good to see you pick up the pieces once again.
Oh, you're making
People
me cry.
watch. People see. This is not a customer. This is not a client. This is just a friend, someone that I know from my Christian community, who he posts all the time on my stuff. In fact, he asked me about Shaco, and I sent him some. Never returned a thing saying anything about I like it. And I just let it go. And now I'm actually trying to connect him with a friend of mine, because it came on my heart yesterday. So I sent them both a random message, because he's been saying how he loves what John and I have, and he wants that. And this other friend wants the same thing. And I'm like, you're both so much alike. And I'm not a mentor or whatever. It's not me. But I said, this is random, guys. So, this thing is going on this weekend. You want to come up and join? Feel free. And if not, why don't you check out this person's profile on Facebook and friend each other, because I think you'd get along. So anyway, and I'm just leaving it. It's like, drop the mic. There it goes. So, but anyway, this is the kind of stuff that makes me know that this is the business that I want. This is where I want to be. Yeah. It's all that other crap that keeps me out of it. So, yeah. And my own fears, my own self-doubts, all of that stuff. So,
yeah. Sorry, I skipped out for the phone for a second. It was my sushi's coming. But but so I asked that question because I've been doing some PD on like business building and fear and like taking the right action and all that. And my fear isn't, oh shoot, 1 second. They're here.
I was just thinking today, like this job, this business is like probably like the most hardest job I've ever had. You can be, go to like a 9-to-5 job, be a nurse, and you can feel crappy. Your life can, suck, and you still can go to work. But, here it's like, this business is, about, you bettering yourself and making yourself feel good. It's like a constant battle every day. You're working on yourself, every day. So And you know how, doubts are, as us women, every day, we put ourselves down, so it's just like, it's really hard. Very, very hard, from like nursing, in a regular 9-to-5 job, I feel.
Yeah.
Hard.
So the fear though, I think it comes in to like taking those actions, like those little actions that we have to do every single day to be able to build up that business. The fear isn't owning the business. The fear is the fact that we have to show up every day and we have to do this thing every day, because otherwise, especially when you're first building it, it will very easily not be there anymore if you don't show up, right? You have to show up for it. You have to treat it like a business. So the fear isn't that, it's that those actions. But for me, and you have to find for you what it is that excites you about the business and like the actions. But I've always been a strategy driven person. Like if you tell me, well, what's our strategy to be able to accomplish XYZ goal? I can lay it out for you. So as far as like when it comes to posting, right? Or when it comes to taking the selfie, if all of a sudden I can think of that as a strategic, like there's a strategic reason why I am doing this. Like this is a business reason, not because I'm vain and I want to take a picture of myself, but because by taking this photo, I know that, I mean, this sounds kind of silly maybe for some people, but by taking this photo and posting my update with a photo, I know that Facebook's algorithm is going to prioritize my post higher. By doing that consistently, I know that I'm going to reach more people. By reaching more people, I know that I'm going to be able to start more conversations that are going to be able to lead to more business invitations, that are going to be able to lead to more lives changed, to business growth. And so there is a strategic objective there, right? Now I've created little micro reasons why all of a sudden I'm taking this selfie. Okay. So if you can assign that like strategic reason, why am I doing this? And that for me, that's what works. Maybe it's not for you, but if I can assign that strategic reason, why am I doing this thing that seems so silly to other people? Why am I on the street, talking to my phone in my Instagram stories when everyone else is looking at me? Why am I like, it's kind of weird, right? Like, or at least I feel that way. Like, yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, but there's a strategic reason I am building a business this way. And this is the tool that I choose to utilize in order to build my business. And this is how it has to work.
It's a great way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, Sada.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's awesome. And Kim, you were saying in regards to it being hard, harder than a regular job. You're right. Because it takes a lot of more personal development, and regular jobs don't require that. That's why anybody can get hired. That's why anybody can apply. And anybody can do this job technically, I say technically, very strategically, because not everybody would do this, because not everybody wants to work on themselves. They don't want to look inwardly. They don't want to see what they need to improve on. But let me tell you, for me, it's a testimony. For me, my journey as a coach is a testimony that when you start working on yourself, your marriage improves, your relationship with your kids improves, your home improves, my relationship with God has improved. My relationship with friends and acquaintances has improved. I would have never gotten those things if I would have just been, no offense to other nurses, but if I had just been working continued on a med-surg floor, miserable, pushing pills, I wasn't really learning anything there. Really, was learning is how much I hated being on call. And no lie, I got a text from one of my old friends telling me, hey, can you come in from 11P to 7A because somebody called out? And I'm laughing like, ha, 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 ha. That's not my life anymore. Like, because I freaking hated getting those text messages. And I was so happy when as I messaged her, I'm like, hey girl, wrong number. Like, and for me, I don't miss that. I don't miss that at all. And so for me, like, there was no growth there. Like I see so many nurses that are not growing. If anything, they're gaining more weight, they're more stressed, they're sicker every day because they overwork themselves, because they have that kind heart of, okay, I'll pick up a shift for you, I'll do this, I'll do doubles for you. And they work themselves sick, right? And that lifestyle is like, heck no, I do not want that for me. Until they're 65 years old and they're smoking and they're 100 pounds overweight and they don't recognize themselves. Like, no, that's not me. And I love nursing, but the things that it does to you behind the story, right? You don't get that with coaching. If anything, behind the story, nobody sees this part, but we're working even harder on ourselves. And that's the part that is the best part, technically, right? And if we can promote that, right? If we promote that more, like the self-care that it almost pushes you to do, that no other job requires you to do, I think that we can at least attract the right people into our business. Because the ones that want to grow, there are people out there that like to grow. There are people that like to feed themselves and enjoy learning. Not everybody is miserable and wants to stay that way. Like there are people there that don't want to feel that way. Just like Linda's friend that texted her, that he legit wants to grow. He doesn't, and that under that message, what he's saying is, I want to do what you're doing and I want to feel that way, right? And most people want to feel like that, but they don't realize that what it takes is to develop themselves to get there. So share that piece of right there that you're talking about. Like that, this is what I love about these moments of like frustration can also be moments of clarity. And you can use that as a post. I've learned over the last few years, like, oh, that can be a post. Oh, that can be a post. Like anything, like those are aha moments for me where I'm like, that conversation with my dad, I already wrote it down. Like I'm going to be sharing that one of these days. Or, every time, any conversation I have with people, like I'm always thinking like, how can that become a post? How can I share that? How can I turn that around? Like I'm constantly thinking about what can I share from this? What can I learn from this? And so whatever introspection you're receiving from this experience right now, that frustration, like that, like, oh, this is so hard, share that. Like people need to know that, and they need to know, I'm sure there's a lot of people, actually I know there's a lot of people that feel the same way, that are like want to get out of their own way, but they don't know how to. So share that. Trust me, you're gonna have people like be like open up more to you because of that. And I think that's what we want to be also, is be vulnerable, have integrity, and don't hide from those feelings. And that's another thing that I like about coaching is I get to be more real. I get to be me. I don't have to hide behind that fake face when I show up to work, which, like you said, you can feel like you can have a miserable life at home, but show up to work with a smile and fake it, right? With coaching, you kind of can't really fake it. And that's a good thing.
The hardest part, very hard.
Yeah, I know, because you're letting go of you're living in a glass house, just like Shanti in one of his summit a couple years ago. He said that we as coaches are living in a glass house.
Yeah.
And that's super uncomfortable because we're putting our lives out there. And that means if we make a mistake and then we're like, oh my gosh, do we put it out there? Do we hide it? But then we're being a hypocrite, right? Like it's like that inner battle, right? But it's a good thing too, because not enough people are vulnerable. Not enough people are sharing the real things. Not enough people, everybody's hiding under a fake facade, whatever that word is. That's what social media is. Like, honestly, coaches are changing social media. Whether you believe it or not, like Beachbody coaches are changing social media. Not any other MLMs, because all the other MLMs are just selling. Because we live in a glass house and we're sharing personal development, we are changing social media. And so for me, that's powerful. That's a purpose in and of itself, to change the environment in social media. You're doing that. You're part of that. So what are your takeaways, guys, for the next week? What are we going to work on? And go around. It can be different. It doesn't have to be the same thing, but I just want to see what you guys are going to work on in the next week. We have a week and a half left of the month, right? Or less than a week and a half.
Yeah, for me, it's just making sure to have the time to have the conversations and invite, because like when I'm traveling like this, it's like no time for anything other than like work meetings, work calls, work meetings again. And then after work, it's like, Sada, you're coming out with the team. So we're going to do more work stuff. And even though we're out to dinner, we're talking about work. And I'm just like, shoot me now. So, yeah, it's just, you know, even if I'm laying in bed in the hotel, I just got to keep having those combos.
What's your number you want to shoot for? Like, you're on vacation, so what would be a non-negotiable for you during this more busy time right now?
I just need to have 5 condos a day. That's my goal.
That's doable.
Yeah.
That's totally doable. Okay, so that's an easy target to reach for. All right.
So I'll go next. I just need to survive the week. Seriously. I need to survive this week. I have a board meeting tomorrow night. I worked last night till 10:30. The night before, I think till 9. What day are we on? Wednesday? And that late the night before that, I have a wake tomorrow before my board meeting. And then after my board meeting, I have to start prepping stuff, because then on Friday I have a funeral, and then I have to step out of the grief mode into the mode of serving Mother Teresa's Sisters of Missionaries of Charities and their elderly shut-ins who are coming up, and I have to make, I don't know, I think 20 pounds of meatballs and 4 or 5 Cajun-style pork loins and rice and beans and all kinds of food. So my goal is going to be keeping myself sane, somewhat rested in between all, and then on Saturday it's service all day long. But in all of that, I will be coming into contact with lots of people. And that is where I shine. That's where conversations happen. That's where people see me who haven't seen me in a while, or who've been following me, who literally come up and are like, oh my God, I saw your post, or I saw this, or I saw whatever. And I have an opportunity to share those conversations. I can't pick a number. I had an interesting conversation actually with one of my coaches, who's actually going to start. I was hoping she would join us tonight, but she's going to be joining us at some point. I brought her into this group. We did a spa day on Saturday. I have to do this me style. And for me, me style isn't the numbers. Me style is throwing myself in and yielding what I can and making that happen. And sometimes it's a feast and sometimes it's a famine. But it's always being consistent and doing it, no matter what else I'm doing. Whether I'm at work, whether I'm making rice and beans and whatever for the elderly shut-ins who are coming up from Dorchester and the Sisters of Mother Teresa, or whatever it is that I'm doing. It's being me, being present, and sharing what I'm doing, because this is my purpose, and that hasn't changed, and that's where I'm going. So I can't give you a number, but I can give you a commitment that nothing's changing with this girl.
I was just gonna say that the connections you're gonna make is you're a person in live person connection, so that works.
That's me. That's where I'm at.
That's the right. That's like I call it old school, but I'm not saying you're old school.
No, I'm old school.
But that's all right. That's how it was. That's how it was back in the day, and it's like that people forget. And then Liz says it herself. Like, don't forget that human interaction is like the number one way to connect with people. So. Yes. So you have you have many opportunities this weekend.
Yeah.
totally utilized it.
Yep.
All right.
So this week I'm going to be working on, talking to more people, just reaching out to more people, and I like to get like a free group going, like a free challenge going. I did have like a 2B mindset challenge, and 2 people were in it, and one just dropped out yesterday. So I'll work on keeping my one person.
How long is the free group?
Well, I haven't done it yet.
Oh, you haven't started. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, have like a free group going anyways all the time, but I like to do like a free challenge and then like a regular challenge down the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you? You said you're gonna talk to more people. What? How many specifically? Just to give yourself a target. I like to keep myself a target so that I can feel like, okay, I'm doing what I said I was gonna do. So what would be your target?
3 a day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you are gonna be working on a challenge group. You said.
Yep.
Okay, so what type of challenge, like, do you have that in mind already, like specifics, what the I can't think of the word right now. I'm like drawing a blank. It's
the program or?
The program?
No, I can't even think right now. I'm so tired. The theme, yeah, there you go, theme.
Yeah, no, not yet. I gotta finish the one that I'm doing right now.
Okay.
So once my son goes back to school, I'll have more time, to really work on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For myself, I have my Team Z that I'm keeping track of all my names, and my goal is to at least get to 20 each day that I have on that list of follow-ups. And I'm still doing invites. For me, my invites, I think I'm at 3 to 5 per day. So I'm going to continue that goal target at least to hit for the next couple of days. And to be more specific, I want to help 2 more people by Friday is my goal. I have so many people on the cusp. And so it's just like, getting them to commit and just saying, yes, I'm going to do this and just do it. So that's my goal, is to get 2 of my peeps to just commit this by Friday. And again, I'm doing it for the greater reason, greater purpose. And I think that I know sometimes we get caught up with the numbers, but just thinking back to that purpose and, going, I always, like I told you guys, I have my little picture of my family next to my computer because they're the ones that remind me of why I'm doing this. So remember to stick to your why, have it close by you. And I know you guys can show up, whether it be that 5, that 3, or those interactions, keep that purpose behind you. And as hard as it gets, keep showing up, because obviously that's where the compound effect happens. And be real to yourself. Like, be yourself. Don't try to follow or be someone else in this journey. The more authentic you become, the more you will attract the right people, and get in that right niche. So yeah, so I hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you guys next Wednesday, which I don't know what day of the week that is. What if it's still August or not?
Day of the week. It's Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still August. Is it?
It is.
Okay, all right. I just don't know when is the last. Oh, Friday's the last day. Okay.
That's the 29th.
So we have a week and a half to exactly. All right. So we're gonna try to put a post up in the group just to remind everybody for Emerald. This is the month to hit Emerald, so that to qualify for our Emerald retreat. So I want to encourage, talk to your peeps and, however way is easiest for you guys. You guys know your team. We can kind of brainstorm on that as well, and posting that as well as the the next qualifications for the next month, because I think Sada, we had talked about that, right? After August. So we can start posting that in the next week. So all right. I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Guys, then.
Okay.